Hello and welcome back to the Katie's Arms. Featuring, not featuring my boobs, although, I mean, that's possible. Featuring my very own t-shirt, wouldn't you know? Thank you very much to Louis for sending me this, or giving me this rather. It's got all of my tour dates on the back as well. So it's a pretty good t-shirt to be having. The Katie's Arms has become a thing. We have merch. Who knew? We have to get these made so that people can wear them around and get evil looks from nasty leftists in places. So I'm now in sunny Florida, in Gainesville, and continuing on this US tour of mine. I've just been running up and down the highway, and it is bloody hot, let me tell you. Sweaty me is not a good me look. And the thing that I didn't necessarily appreciate, or haven't appreciated for a long time because we've been in bollocksing lockdown in the UK, is just how much humidity makes you sweat, and that then the sweat doesn't leave your body. So it just sort of schleps around on you. I wanted to say Mothering Sunday. It's Mothering Sunday here in the US. Don't have a massive panicky fit that it's Mothering Sunday in the UK as well, because it's definitely not. But it is Mothering Sunday here in the US. So a very happy Mother's Day to anybody following the Katie's Arms here in America. I think as a mother, basically the best way to be a mother is to know that you're just going to be a bit shit at it, but that's fine. And that any mother who's pretending to be perfect is just basically a lying cow. That's really important. Second thing, anybody who has an extraordinarily good-looking baby and wants to share Instagram snaps all the time of their extraordinarily good-looking baby, that's not normal. Most babies look really, really freaky, and the sorts of babies that make you go, ooh, maybe they'll grow into that face, you know? So, and babies do typically grow into their face. So if you have an ugly baby, don't worry too much, because they grow into their face one way or another. Whether I ever grew into mine, I don't know. It's been around too long. The other very important thing, if you're a new mother, is not to listen to anyone else at all. And I mean, anybody pretending to be a medical person, midwives, any of that shit, don't listen to them either. I physically barred the midwife staff from entering my property when I had one of my children, because I consider them to be some sort of mini militia, essentially there to make you feel bad that you're not suckling young people all the time on your boobs. That's not necessary either. This whole shit about breast is best, that's fine. And maybe you love it, maybe you're brilliant at it, maybe you've got fabulous boobs and you can get them out at all times and feed everything. Children, small animals, other people's husbands, whatever you need to do, brilliant. But if you can't, that's absolutely perfect as well. Don't let anyone make you feel like a failure, darlings, if you can't breastfeed. I've known too many young mums who go in, come out with their baby, can't breastfeed, and then they're made to feel like a massive failure, end up with massive depression, beating themselves up for no damn reason, and ending up back in hospital because they can't cope, because the world's made them feel shit about themselves. The only person that gets to make you feel shit about yourself, just so you're aware, is you. And there's been plenty of times I've needed to make me feel shit about myself because I've been an arsehole. Other people don't get to make you feel shit about yourself. So anything like shame, that you shouldn't be going near shame. If you feel people trying to bring shame to you, look, I've got a notebook. I made notes for the Katie's Arms. Dedicazione. Anybody who tries to bring shame to you, or guilt, or these are all things people put on you, right? Like as if you were wearing a massive backpack and they are loading up. Oh dear, do you answer questions? I try and answer questions, but we all agree here on Katie's Arms I'm quite shit. Because once I get talking like this, there's no stopping me. But okay, we'll try and do some questions too. Anyway, if you imagine yourself wearing a large backpack or rucksack, what do you call these things you put on your back? And like potatoes, segue to Boris Johnson in a minute, people put these things onto your backpack, right? Guilt, shame, inadequacy, feelings of not being as good as, they all come from other people. And your job is to zip up your backpack and not allow people to put that shit in it, you see? So you have to push that shit away and ask people to own that. The other thing people do, and this is a common trick with friendship groups, is they go, oh, are you okay? They don't really mean, are you okay? Just so we're clear. What they mean is, ooh, what's going wrong in your life that you might offload on me so I can feel better about my life? So if you hear the phrase, are you okay? Are you all right? Or I haven't heard from you for a while, or blah, 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 know that that person is possibly, probably fishing for some shit that you're going through. Oh yeah, I just feel really shit today because I feel a bit fat and la la, and my husband's a twat and la la la. If you fill them up with that shit, all they're asking, they want, it's like them putting on moisturizer, right? It's like, ooh, listen to all of her troubles. Ooh, I feel better about myself. So just be wary of that whole, are you okay shit? Because it's usually someone trying to soothe themselves with the ointment of your pain so that they feel better about themselves. We were talking about mothering, I noticed, I segued, or veered off. Other things about mothering that I think are important is, yes, ultimately you're always going to cock it up. And you're always going to wonder, at some point you will sit and think, why the shitting hell did I ever have kids? And that's fine as well. And also you have to work on a ratio basis. So I have 3. Let's hope maybe 2. I mean, there was one point where I should say maybe 2 will make it through, as in still be alive. I think I'm past that because they're like 16, 15, unless the jihadis get us first. But so I've managed to keep them alive till now. That's brilliant. That's probably not most people's sort of bar of success as a parent, is can you keep your children alive? But that's mine. Then there's a point where you're going to maybe lose one, aren't you? I don't mean like lose as in, although I have lost children before also. And a nanny, I had lost children of mine at a bus stop. Another story. And don't mean that you're going to just lose one. I mean that probably one will bugger off for a bit, hate you, maybe take drugs, go into prostitution, whatever. I'm thinking of a specific child of mine. And then maybe you'll pick them up from a police station. And then maybe one day when they're like 40, I'll be dead by then. But when they're 20, they'll come back round and realise you were kind of epic. So all I'm saying about mothering as well is, think ratio. And that's why it's good to have more than one kid. Because if you only have one kid, then your whole idea that if you fuck up with one, you fucked up 100%, haven't you? Whereas with me, I've got 3, maybe 1 will make it through and be quite good. And by good, I don't mean be a doctor or a lawyer or something shit like that. I mean, be fun to be with, care about someone, pick up trash when they see it, pick up litter, check me out, so American. Pick up litter when they see it in the street. That's a good soul to me. Anyway, that's my mothering tips. I don't think you're going to find this written down in any mothering book anytime soon. I don't think they are normal mothering stories, but those are the truths of it. And if anyone else tries to make you feel bad about your mothering, just tell them to piss off, darlings. Specifically, if they're the sort of mother that makes those freaking fruit kebabs or, makes their child's lunchbox with a salad that is sort of a, sunset or something, makes some sort of amusing picture out of their child's. Really, those women just need to get either a life or a hobby, sorry about the noise, or a job, or have better sex. Anybody who makes fruit kebabs is clearly not, occupied enough in other areas of their lives. So there's a bit of, happy Mothering Day advice from me. Meanwhile, if you are in America and you've got a mother, or you still speak to your mother, in fact, even if you don't speak to your mother, great day to start speaking, is give them a ring. Please don't text. I'm telling my children this. If you're going to send me a message for like a mothering or Christmas or Easter or something, if it's just going to be a text, don't even freaking bother. Because if the best effort you can be is like with your thumbs, screw that. Like I pushed out what was Poppy, she's like 12 pounds out of my vagina. If the best you can do off the back of that is send me some lame ass text, I'm not interested at all. Like I carried you around for 9 months with you kicking the shit out of me from the insides, with these massive boobs that leaked everywhere. And I remember one occasion when I had a red sweater and I didn't realise my nipples were leaking. And then I had these 2 dark, and I wondered why everyone was staring at my tits. And I thought it was just because my boobs were fabulous at the time. But actually it was because I had 2 dark red patches here and here because my nipples had been leaking and I hadn't realised. And that still haunts me to this day. Mostly also because my boobs are so much smaller now, which is upsetting in every regard. I tell my son that he drank them. Where was I going with that? Yes, don't send a shitting text to say Happy Mother's Day. Pick up the damn phone and say thank you for the burden you carried to bring me forth into this world. And if you're thinking about not having children because the world's so freaking awful, don't think like that, darlings. Have a baby anyway, because babies are actually quite funny when they get older. Young babies, I think, are really boring and shit. And when people send lots of pictures of them, I don't want to see it. No, I don't want to see a picture of your scan. I don't want to know when you're like half a sniff pregnant, like these women that have just about sniffed sperm and then they're like sharing pictures. I'm like 4 weeks pregnant. I don't want to know about it until 12 weeks. Even then, I don't really want to know about it other than I hope you're all right. And then, you know, I think after that, don't talk about it too much, but I think babies are really boring. Basically, all they need is just to be like cleaned, kept dry and fed occasionally and told to be quiet. But eventually, babies do become interesting. And when no one else in the world is speaking to you, you know, often then your kids will. That's been my experience. People always say, like, ooh, but what about your kids? What do your kids think, Katie? What do your kids think about what you do? That's a bit like what I told you about earlier, the whole, oh, are you okay bullshit. What they're trying to say is, oh, your kids must hate you, Katie. Ooh, are your kids suffering? Ooh, do they get beaten up at school? Ooh, tell me about how much they're bullied. Ooh, and people, that's what they're really doing. They want me to give them some heartbreaking story of my child being punched relentlessly in the corner of a classroom so they can feel better about the fact they've done piss all to try and fight for their country. And no, actually, my children are jolly happy and fairly well-rounded individuals, and all of them have had a job since they were about 12 or 13, because we're kind of normal. But the other thing that people kind of forget is they imagine me as a mum would be like me on The Apprentice. So they literally think I like walk around my house, like pulling a wheelie suitcase and going, well, you're a complete shithead and you're no good at this because you're a retard. And if your best friend's a Mr. Pino, Mr. Grigio, killer line. But that's obviously not how I do mothering. I essentially like change toilet paper and put lids on toothpaste and do the ironing. So to my kids, I'm just like a regular mum in your pajamas who occasionally has a bit of a shit fit about the fact no one ever does anything in this house but me. So that's how they know me. So in a way, my kids have a really normal relationship with me because I'm like a standard mum. Someone's just said, look, I'm answering a question. Thank you. What do I think about the woman that had 9 children? I think that's disgusting. I mean, seriously, God damn it. A, we're not freaking rabbits, darlings, are we? You know, and rabbits would struggle to have 9 children. B, you know, I don't want to be like one of these like home birthing mums and breast is breast, because that's all that kind of thing. Best is breast. Breast is best. Hold on, I can't say it. Breast is best, yes. Pedo, speedo. See, things that rhyme aren't always the right answer. Pedo, speedo. Anytime a midwife says to you, breast is best, say pedo, speedo, and see how they go. Or just lock them out of your house like I did with my midwife. I think, what was she trying to make me do? Yes, breastfeed. And breastfeed at every hour of every day. So I just didn't let her in the house anymore and ripped up my red book. I don't know if they still have red books. So, I can't quite remember where we got to with all of that, but more or less that my children more or less think I'm a normal mother. I mean, obviously a mother that travels around the countries of the world fighting for freedom and generally loving strong conservatives. But, you know, other than that, well, and other than being arrested every other day, and other than having a fatwa, and other than losing every job I ever had. Yeah, well, other than that, I'm just like a normal mum. Oh, I know, we were talking about the 9 babies. Yes, disgusting. That's not right. No one's supposed to have 9 babies. Presumably that was IVF, because otherwise that's one busy-ass sperm, right? That just like, must have had a head on it the size of a tadpole with some sort of contortion. Also, those 9, oh yes. So I think babies should definitely come out of your vagina where at all possible. I know the idea is that if you're posh, you don't push. But I think the posher you are, the harder you push. And in fact, we should do birthing, shouldn't we? We must do Katie's own birthing. In fact, in this new book that I'm writing, which is basically a handbook for life, this is all in there really, which is essentially about having a baby. If any of your mates are pregnant, maybe you're pregnant. Yes, it does fucking hurt. Like, why does no one just come out with that? You go to these pathetic classes. I only went to one. I never went again because I couldn't stand any of the people in there. All of this puffing and blowing and sitting in your partner's laps. Disgusting. Anyway, that's going to do nothing for you when you're having a 12-pound baby out your vagina, just so you know. It hurts like shit. And the best thing you can do is really kind of love pain. So if you just go, come on, pain. Come on. What's the best you got? Come on. That way you'll get your baby out. 100%. Don't take any drugs. Don't take anything. Don't be injected in your spine. You're not a freaking monkey in some sort of science experiment. Just push that damn thing out. Either way, what my point is that 9 babies aren't going to come out that way. Or if they did, that's going to be wrecked. That's going to be like a nasty tunnel that got blown up. I don't even want to think about it. But either way, don't have 9 babies, Christ's sake. So there were some things I actually wanted to talk about before I spent 15 minutes talking about, well, just offloading. Epidural, darling, that's it. Don't have epidurals, darling. Just embrace the pain. Pain is really like pain, pleasure, love, hate, right? All these things are just a wafer thin, hair's little distance apart. People like hate me, now they think they love me. See what I mean? Love, hate, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain. We all know those things are just So if you just bring yourself to the pain of childbirth, squeeze that thing out, your whole vagina situation will be a lot better. Don't get cut open just because you don't fancy hurting. Take the hurt. I wanted to talk about Boris Johnson being an absolute wanker. So the potato in a wig says that, how are your children? Do you remember what they look like? I suspect you think you're very clever, don't you, darling? A, I doubt you've got children. B, you're still busily offloading the tiny amount of liquid that comes out of your testicles with your right hand and probably not clearing up from yourself afterwards. And C, darling, you've probably never fought for anything more than a bacon sandwich in Marks and Spencer's in the line, whereas I'm here fighting for the freedom of my children. So my children know what I'm doing. They're proud of me, thank you. And people stop in the street to remind my children to be proud of their mother. But let me know when you have that same experience. Okay, sweet boy. Boris Johnson has been a complete twat. He has said from the 17th of May, you're going to be I love Paloma Faith deeply. If she'll marry me tomorrow, absolutely perfect. She's on my lesbian list. Boris Johnson says from the 17th of May, we're going to be allowed to hug our family and our friends. A, piss right off. B, piss right off. And C, when you're done pissing off, come back here and let me tell you a couple of things. 1, I don't need permission from anybody to hug anyone, not to do anything. In fact, to do much work. If I want to physically violate someone with my own body, I'm probably not going to ask permission for that either. I'm going to wait till they punch me in the face. 2, I don't need permission from a politician to do anything with my family and friends. Thank you. Particularly not one who's overweight, pretty butt ugly, has shit hair, and is married to some other woman after shagging everybody in London and having babies with everybody. You don't get to tell me shit. And thirdly, of course, I'm going to love who that damn well hell I like, and I'm going to smear myself up against the world just as much as I please. And there is no date on when anybody can love anyone. So get back in your box. Shack up with that horrific woman who gives more of a shit about wallpaper and sofas than anything else, and stop telling British people when they can hug, who they can hug, and whatever. I encourage more of you to take up some of the outdoor pursuits that I'm well known for engaging with. That's the sort of messaging we need. In fact, that's a great idea. Sod off Boris, F Boris on your back, get up to what I got up to in some of the fields and show him who you're going to hug, when, and how. Okay, that's good, I feel better. Sadiq Khan. I mean, look, it's been a testing time for me. My husband just texted me and says, you need to calm down, Birdie. Birdie is my husband's name for me. I'm not sure why. Anyway, so he said I need to calm down. I think that's true today. Mark's always right, which is annoying. And also he's called Lovely Mark. I think we discussed this, didn't we? My husband's called Lovely Mark because everybody thinks he's lovely. It's really, really trying. It comes with a question mark as well. Oh, Nico. Yes. Nico beat Lawrence Fox, correct? With no money, no funding. Lawrence Fox had 5 million, was it? I think it was £100 per vote that he achieved. I mean, Lawrence is completely right, of course. Silence minority, silence majority need a voice. What they need is a coherent voice backed by a team of people who are all pushing together to achieve the same outcome. That's the flaw in the plan so far. Well, and the fact that he was a D-grade actor and has never really stood up for any of us who've been in this fight for a long time. Me and Tommy and others. But anyway, Sadiq Khan re-elected is a complete balls ache. Because everything's, off the chart. Stabbings. What, we had a couple people stabbed in Selfridges? I mean, I could stab people in Selfridges. I mean, I don't mean that in a physically violent way, but all I mean is people in Selfridges are typically arseholes. But doesn't mean you can really walk in the store and start stabbing people. But I think in any way, what is a great idea to inaugurate or commemorate Sadiq Khan getting re-elected, in inverted commas, because clearly it's just a setup. What could be better to commemorate that than a stabbing in Selfridges? How very Sadiq Khan. What should we do to mark this special day? Oh, let's go and stab a few people. So that's essentially what's gone on there. The point is, this isn't a Muslim bashing thing, although all of you will say it is. If you have a London that is packed full, that is actually Muslim majority, even though no one will acknowledge it yet, and one day they will acknowledge it, and I won't get any kind of, oh, Katie, you were right after all. Because you're Muslim majority in London, it means that people vote according to religion. When you vote according to religion, only a Muslim will ever be back in power. Things will be passed over. It's why you have a Muslim Housing Association, the Muslim Police Association, Eid parties in Trafalgar Square, all oiling the wheels of the support base. That's why he's back in. People will dispute that, but one day I'll be recognised as being a genius of my time, and I'll be dead by then, so I won't give a shit. Either way, it's a disaster that he's in. He's going to try and remove private cars. Please know this, within 5 years, they will try and remove private cars from the UK. Again, people will say I'm like Alex Jones on acid. Let's not bother reflecting. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks of me anyway. 5 years from now, they will try and make it so you cannot have a car. Probably in London, probably in the major cities, but certainly in the UK. And the first push will be to all electric, because of course, who will control all electric? Not the people. Then they can limit those electric vehicles. You're being schooled right now for a 7-mile radius. They can limit them and then they can turn them off altogether and push you to state transport. Sounds delusional. I understand. I don't think I'm the stupid one here. And I think in time people will say, yeah, we thought she was a complete nutter. Turns out she was talking the truth. Right, I'm going to look on her. Preach it. I'm trying to preach it, my darlings, but I also know that I also want to bring people with us, and I don't want to sound like a freaking conspiracy theory nut. People ask me all the time about the vaccine. Would I ever have the vaccine? No. Have I ever had the vaccine? No. Have I had the vaccine to travel? No. Any vaccine question you have on any way for me? No, I haven't. No, I wouldn't. No, I won't take it. No, I haven't ever had a vaccine, nor will I ever have a vaccine related to, they say the word vaccine, state injectable. I've never had a state injectable in order to do the things I've always done. Because that would be really weird, wouldn't it? It'd be a really odd thing to do, is have a vaccine against something that's definitely not going to hurt me. But, that's just my personal opinion. Maybe you'd love to have the vaccine. Maybe you'd love to have Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, AstraZeneca, all of them. Maybe you'd like to have a vaccine every day. And I say to you, great, do it. Do it. Do it if you want to. Just don't be lecturing me. And don't be trying to stop me going on, were I to be on a cruise ship. I used to do talks on cruise ships. Cruise ship, don't try and stop me going on holiday. Don't try and stop me travelling, darlings. So, but you do you, that's wonderful. And I need to make a plea, please. You can have my last Rolo. That's so cute. I haven't had, I know what I want to show you. Hold on. Okay, so I bought these for my husband because it struck me as amusing. I don't know if you've been to America, but if you have, you'll know that CVS is the most important store in the whole of America because it sells absolutely everything you need for immediate life. Shampoo, conditioner, earbuds, razors. So immediate life things that you must have in your life. I bought these for my husband yesterday. Now ignore the fact they're open because clearly I'm a glutton. Nips. Why, is that funny? No, it's not funny at all. Right, no, it's not funny. It's not funny to think that having sweets called nips is funny. Nor are nips amusing, nor are nipples in any way funny. And obviously at the age of 46, 7? What am I? Obviously at the age of 46, still finding the word nips funny just means that you're a retard. So I accept all of that. Anyway, I bought them with the idea that I was taking my nips back, get it? To see my husband. But in fact, when I got in last night, having drunk quite a lot of wine, I saw the caramels and thought, I must eat half a packet of those immediately. That is one of the downsides of drinking quite a lot of wine. That's probably the only downside that I know. Right, any other questions, my darlings? Yes, thank you. You see, nips are funny. This is why I love my Insta family, because you guys get it. You get that, if we're not laughing, what are we doing? And to the people that try and come on my Instagram to be an asshole, I laugh at you, really, because it's a positive place, this, and you think you're going to hurt any of us by being an asshole. You're really not. We've come here because we're laughing at ourselves, with each other, at me, mostly, at the crazy world, at some twat that thinks he's going to tell me when I can hug someone. So, yeah, please, just piss off. Just piss off my Instagram feed. Don't follow. Don't like what I say. Don't be here. I don't want the followers. I don't give a shit. I don't care if you hate me. Just piss off. Go do something else. Go and play with yourself like you do. Or, think about having the first shower you've had for the year. Maybe play some computer games with other people with sticky keyboards and no life that are probably translucent because of the moon tan that you have. Just piss off and do that, and leave the rest of us try and find this little oasis of sanity. I think one of the great things about this time that we've lived through is that we've seen through so many people, all these bullshit celebrities that were like, mental health, We've just seen, you can look it up, but the highest rate of alcohol deaths, and no one's talking about it. More people will have died from alcohol poisoning over lockdown than they will have ever done of COVID. And I'm not triumphant about that. It's all horrible. But it's kind of why the Katie's Arms started. I mean, admittedly, I'm telling you to drink, so it seemed a little bit hypocritical that I'm talking about deaths through alcohol. But if you're going to go, maybe going via alcohol's not the worst. But what I mean is that in lockdown will have killed more people than COVID bullshit ever will have done. And my personal view is absolutely COVID is man-made. It's targeted to be the most infectious thing there is. It was targeted to bring down Trump. And all of that makes me sound like a nut as well. But here I am. Right, my darlings, do I like Muslims? I do. I do, in the sense that I don't really give a shit if you're a Muslim. So it's not really I like Muslims, is it? It's like, are you a good dude? Maybe you're good looking. Maybe you smell nice. Maybe you offered to help me. Maybe you held a door open for me. Maybe you picked up some trash. Maybe you did something darling for someone else. Then I'm going to like you. So it's not really do I like Muslims? Do I like great people? And also great men. This is a call really at Katie's Arms. Ooh, the other thing, I had homework for you. Bonnie Tyler, log that. I need big men, so big, strong men. Please know, you get challenged a lot less than women. When I gesture at myself, I don't really mean myself, because I'm not really conventional as a woman, am I? I go about the world with a certain rage. But I see how this works, the mask thing. If someone's not wearing a mask and they're elderly, an elderly lady or a lady, I don't really give a shit about skinny soy boys because, frankly, they can just piss off. But that's why we need strong men to stand up, because it sounds very old-fashioned and traditional, but I love it. We need big boys to say, no, I'm not putting my mask on, and no, I've chosen not to, and either you're going to charge me for these goods in my basket or I can walk out with them. My point is, people pick on, I've seen all sorts of horrible people do it. They'll pick on women and elderly people because those are easier targets. And it's why it's on people like me, big toughies, big boys, to come in and help be the first wall, and to stand up for our elderly, and to stand up for other women, and to stand up for younger people who are also picked on. And that's, if I always say, if you've got a trouble, let me know, because I'll come sort it. Right. Come to Worcester. I will. I would love to come on a... Hold on, let's rephrase that. Coming on a stage doesn't sound very public, does it? I would love to do a tour of the UK. There's nothing I wouldn't rather do. I wouldn't be in America if I could do a tour of the UK. And you know what? We'd have the best fun. And we would laugh and laugh and laugh, because British humour is the ultimate humour. And also we just have the nicest time too, because ordinary people are the best kind of people. And once you get away from politicians, celebrities and all the assholes, ordinary people working tills, McDonald's, Wimpy, Wendy's is coming to the UK. Ordinary people are the best people, and my kind of people too. So I'm sad that that's been taken from me, but I have to own my shit. And I'm sure I brought all of this upon myself, living in the age that we do. So the homework for you from the Katie's Arms is to listen to, this is specifically for ladies or men who feel a bit like a lady, and for people who have been picked on or got at or feel like days are a death by 1,000 cuts. And it's also my pledge and plea to toughies out there, either tough women or tough boys, is a hero. So it's epic. I was just listening to it running this morning. Bonnie Tyler, Hero. After you finished here, find that track, play it really, really, or song, what do we used to say? LP, cassette, do you remember recording the charts? What do they call it? Top 40, wasn't it? Remember play and record at the same time to record the charts so that you had those? Young people, you won't get this shit, but we used to have cassettes and we used to record the top, was it top 40? Top 20? Shit, I don't know. So that you had those songs. Anyway, Bonnie Tyler, this is your homework, and Hero. And it's basically a plea to strong men to stand up and stand up like you stood up when you went on the Freedom Walk through London the other day. Stand up because people are picking on elderly and women because it's easier to pick on them. And also any other heroes out there that are able to remember what you think, why you think it, and not be got at by other people. You're heroes too. And remember what I said at the very front of this. Remember that you're wearing like an invisible backpack. Don't allow people to load into it stuff that brings you down or stops you feeling good about yourself. Don't allow people to put guilt in it or feeling bad about yourself or feeling less about yourself. Zip it up and ask those people to own their own issues, yeah? You own that shit. You own why you're trying to make yourself feel better using My Life, and you know that you're being the very best that you can be. So don't let other people put you down. Okay, that's your pep talk from me here at the Katie's Arms. Look at me go. And you keep doing you, and I'll keep doing me here. And I keep talking about what's going on in the UK. And I feel like a lot more people now know how my fellow countrymen are struggling and enduring and what they're suffering in the UK. And that makes me feel better every day that I'm at least sharing that. And remember to tell Boris to do one and hug. Smear yourself up against people, darlings, and just try and make one person tomorrow feel a little bit better. And you could have saved their day. So I'll leave you to Bonnie Tyler. I nearly said Bonnie Langford then. Holy shit. I'll leave you to Bonnie Tyler and Hero. And thank you to all the heroes standing up right alongside me back in the UK.